Higurashi pulled up. I went through the tips from last time, and one thing I have a question about is when it was introduced that Mion has a sister, Shion. Headphones aren't on. Rika was like, yeah, I saw Shion, I think at a funeral or something, but she never said if Mion was also at that funeral. So I think we're to believe in this iteration that Shion is. Also, it's like, it would be a perfect red herring because that's what Keiichi is like believing. That's what Keiichi's believing, and he thinks he has it all figured out, that Shion is actually Mion, but I think that's going to be the twist, is what's going to happen. I really don't... I watched the anime like 10 fucking years ago. No, more than that, like 15 years ago. Again, I don't know how accurate it is, but... I think that was all of my thoughts from like doing a quick little refresher, because I was like, I don't fucking remember what happened last. Go ahead and... think if I want... I'm gonna try one more time. Is there a way that I can get the pop-out chat to stay on top? So that way, whenever I click onto the game, I don't know how to do that, so fuck it, I'll just see if anyone comes in chat on my phone periodically. Because there was a couple times that people have come into chat. But yeah. Anyways. Okay. Continue. I have a quick story actually. Okay, so I've been learning how to code. I'm still in the basics of CSS. It's nothing crazy, but my instructor is really obsessed with AI, like to an excessive degree. I don't mind using AI as a tool, but like, he's acting like it's the future and like this, he's like a step away from saying it's like the fix-all for everything is almost what it comes off as, but he was switching back and forth between his tabs to get to the lesson for the day. It wasn't really a lesson, it was like something related to teaching, but he switched to his ChatGPT tab really quickly and then switched back, but I like caught a glimpse of the conversation and I couldn't tell, it was so quick, I couldn't tell if it was his chat bubble or ChatGPT's bubble that was saying this, but I read the word darlin in there, like D-A-R-L-I-N apostrophe, and I was just like, which is worse? Him calling the ChatGPT darlin, or him telling ChatGPT to call him darlin? Which is worse? I don't know. I really don't know. Anyways, on to Higurashi once I pull this up. Okay. So, new chapter. I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. I wish PE was like that. I remember PE in elementary school every couple times a year. I think it was twice a year. It wasn't really field day, but it was separate from field day. It was the PE instructor doesn't have something for today, so let's just but we had these those seats with the wheels on them. It's literally just a square with some handles to put your hands on, and then you would run over your fingers with the wheels. And then there was oh my god, there was some other ones that were really fun. I wish I could remember, but PE class at that school was cool, even though the school itself kind of sucked. Everybody was they were moms and grandmas that hated children a lot, and why are they teaching? It was like that. Anyways. Okay. Alright, are we actually starting? We're actually starting. After some spent doing whatever, you're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. I'm not really sure, but doesn't the Board of Education have some sort of curriculum for this? Something like, when you're this old, you should have this amount of physical ability? I have no idea what you're saying, Cage-san. It's rather difficult to understand. Well, you see, it's something like a rule for teachers to follow during class. Maybe weakling city folk need something like that. But do you really think us country-raised kids would lag behind in physical ability? We're better athletes than you think, Keiji. Come to think of it, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. On that note, I watched too much television, so I'm fantastically tired. I'll be using this time to catch up on my sleep. It's 4th period and I'm completely starved. If I don't sleep now, when will I ever? How many periods are normally in Japanese schools? Do they count the lunch as a period? It's making this sound like, unless Keiichi is just has a rapid fire metabolism. I don't know. As I begin to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar. Tis tis tis, do you really think I'd let you sleep in peace and quiet? With that look on your face, it'd require more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief, which means, is it going to start again? Now, just killing time with idle chit-chat until the bells ring is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it? Shall we start a club activity? Just as I thought, it's come to this. What's today's game? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I read that as Minecraft. I have to get my brain into gear. Reina thinks that we should decide what today's penalty game should be before we start. Is this timeline's Reina? Does she constantly call herself by her first name? Did she do that in the last chapter? At all? Reina's more of a pussy this time. Reina knows what's up. I've prepared something super special today. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish, but before she could do that, I'm sorry, I have something that I wanted to do. Of all people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Neon spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. What? Huh? What's the matter? Are you not feeling well? Oh, that's right, Mi-chan. She has to practice for the Wadanagashi. That's right, it's this Sunday. Rika is in the middle of super serious training right now. I've been working too hard lately, so my arms hurt. I see. Well, there's nothing that can be done. There's no point in doing anything if we can't get everybody together. Today, let's just take it easy. I have not drank very much water today. I mostly had coffee and orange juice. I'm very sorry, but I'll try my best. Yeah, good luck. We'll be cheering you on. When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Sadako headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about. What was that about? Is Rika-chan training for a competition or something? Rika-chan is a shrine maiden for the Wada Nagashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance. It's practice for that. Do you notice, like, I have a certain tone of voice when it's, like, plot exposition, like, it has to be, like, hi, how are you? Like, that kind of voice, I don't know. Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Wada Nagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance? Huh? Didn't you get the notice at your house, Kei-chan? Wasn't it written there? The Wada Nagashi festival is this Sunday. Huh? Come to think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Wada Nagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. I see, but Wada Nagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like the Lantern Festival, where they have a memorial for the dead floating things down the river? Oh, I figured you might guess right, Kei-chan. The Wada Nagashi, or Cotton Drift Festival, as the name implies, where we set cotton adrift down the river. The cotton you see is from futons or jackets, so it'd be something like a futon memorial? They also pile futons up on the altar. I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war. But an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? I didn't know needles were So this is Kei-chan saying this. I don't know very much about Japanese festivals, if I'm being honest. I don't know a whole lot about Japanese culture. Besides, you know, Animu and Mango. Mion tilted her head pensively. I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it. The winters around here are pretty harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess. Oh, I see. In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter, then. Then the Shrine Maiden holds a memorial service for them and sets them adrift. That's what the Wada Nagashi is? Mion and Reina indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause. And you see that Shrine Maiden performing the festival is Rika-chan. Oh, so Rika-chan is a Shrine Maiden. Now that you mention it, Rika-chan does have a mystical air about her. Right? Right. Rika-chan is in a Shrine Maiden outfit? Aw, so cute. It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute. I finally get what you're saying. Rika-chan's training is for her performance as a Shrine Maiden then. Oh my god, they're just like beating a dead fucking horse. That would be it. The Shrine Maiden has to purify the number of futons as part of the ceremony. It's practice for that. It's a lot of hard work. The Shrine Maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as a part of the rite. And it's really heavy for Rika-chan. They said hoe. Well, Rika-chan is pretty small. Exactly how heavy is that hoe? It's pretty heavy. I can't not say it. Enough that Rika-chan has been practicing with a mochi mallet. Wait a minute, that's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan, that'd be rough even for me. Yeah, I have seen videos of people making mochi. That shit is grueling. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident... Oh, damn it. Is my... Hold on. I thought my stream was, like, not working. Okay. I thought it was frozen. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident, it'd be big trouble. Well, it's a once a year kind of a deal. All we can do is cheer from the sidelines. It'll be okay. She pulled it off last year. Really? Then the least I can do is cheer her on. Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. I did read that right. Mion laughed as she shook her head. Leave her alone. If you go, Rika-chan will get all cute and won't be able to practice. I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying. You see, Rika-chan doesn't like showing people how hard she works, okay? So just leave her be. She's got her, like, evil smile here. Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. It's not like I could understand that feeling. All I can do is pray for her success, huh? Do your best. Rika Furude, I'm cheering up for you. Well then, I climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side. Hooray, hooray, Rika-chan! In order to transmit more of my psychic waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. Snooze. So you're just going to sleep after all? The lackadaisical noontime ended, giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Okay, so I'm guessing there's like 6 periods, maybe? Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition. Oh, right, okay, yeah, because of the curry. Ugh, I might have gorged myself a bit too much. I'll have to endure afternoon classes. Haha, Keiichi-kun, you had an amazing appetite today. Basically, you always eat like a pig, but today was on a whole different level. Yesterday I skipped lunch, right? That hunger just soaked right in. This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds. Haha, I get you. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch down to the last bite. Heck, even down to the last grain of rice. I'm like that with rice. I will try to eat every bit of rice. It's just so good. I've been making egg fried rice lately, a lot. I got this cute little rice cooker. It's like pastel blue. Pastel blue is like now my favorite color out of nowhere. I mean, I always liked blue, but right now pastel blue. Maybe because of cinnamon roll. He's probably got something to do with it, but yeah. With food, you show your appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know? If you leave any behind, it's rude to the person who put in all that effort. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh. Kei-chan, really, at first glance, you seem unruly and irresponsible, but you're actually pretty conscientious. Well-disciplined, or something like that. Huh, yeah, Raina thinks so too. Kei-chan is a lot kinder than he looks. Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. It's not true. I just wanted to say that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality. And I'm saying that's not a compliment. Hey, Sonozaki-san, Maebara-kun, we're in the middle of class. How far did you get, Sonozaki-san? Bring your notes up here. I always lose track of the conversation, like who's saying what. I feel... Okay. Okay. I obviously realized that was the teacher talking, but yeah. I forget that you can't see my mouse. I'm pretty sure you can't see my mouse cursor. Startled, Neon vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely. Doing alright. You haven't progressed at all. You're in the highest grade, so you have to shape up. At Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard. Appearances can be deceiving, in other words. Actually, appearance might be the opposite of reality. You say some interesting things. Responding to Reina's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Sadako was happily studying, together with Rika-chan. Are you saying that brat Sadako is actually really meek? If I went by what Reina literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Sadako being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale. Sadako-chan's been rude lately, but just a while ago she was pretty different. She acted really spoiled and always... Yep. Keep this a secret from Sadako-chan, okay? That's Sadako acting so cute? For Sadako to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. Okay, is it me, or are the translations for this chapter really fucking weird and, like, a little hard to understand? Like, I basically get it, but even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. Okay, like, it's just a weird way of saying it, but Japanese to English translations tend to be like that. But since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Sadako. Oh, we're going into our mind warp. Hey, Sadako! What is it, Oni-sama? Sadako smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Sadako took, for some reason, I took 3 steps away. Oni-sama, why are you running away? Sorry, Sadako, for you to approach me with an affectionate smile on your face, I just have to think it's some sort of trap. That's so mean. Oni-sama, you meanie. Sorry, I didn't intend to be so mean. The weeping Sadako came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Clank. Huh? A bear trap? My leg was being clamped down by jagged metal teeth. Oh, you fell for it. Now for the next part. Sadako raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine. I'm not really sure, but Cage-kun, you're not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you? Not really, not at all. That's a lie. You've got the kind of look on your face that says, I'm gonna be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball. How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that? Sorry, imagining a meek and gentle Sadako is impossible right now. I'll try again when I'm in better shape. Next, I looked over to Rika-chan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Sadako, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika-chan came at me saying, Oni-sama, I'd hug her. Tightly. I could get used to that. Cage-kun, you're drooling. Sorry. Then how about Rika-chan? I forgot how... They're not real, okay? Like, that's the thing. They're not real. So, like... It's like... I don't need to go into depth about it, but it is fiction, and it is like, all I'll say is that it makes me not sympathize with Keiichi as much. Okay, then how about Rika-chan? Are you saying that her appearance is deceiving as well? Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she was really quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it? Evading things deftly? I get the feeling that Rika-chan isn't only just sweet. Her appearance is definitely deceiving. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Reina managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, you shouldn't say something like that. When Rika-chan grows up, I'm sure she'll become an incredibly devilish beauty with men wrapped all around her little finger. Don't you think that would be cool? Reina said that lightheartedly, but I as a man couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned toward me and let loose an angelic smile. Both Reina and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Aw, so cute, so cute. Reina, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well, then what about our dear leader, Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Reina's theory, that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belied appearances. And what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person? Mi-chan is a good person. Oh, well, that is true, but what I'm trying to say is... Yep, I know what you're trying to say, Keiichi-kun. Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Reina smiled even more brightly. Know what? Mi-chan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy. Mi-chan is a trans guy. That's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Reina said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. If she were a guy, we'd probably be like two peas in a pod. Although that's the same way it is right now. But you see, even that Mi-chan is actually really feminine. Reina, how much did Mion pay you exactly? It's not true. Jeez, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know? Reina began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around. Mi-chan is the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody. But she's really a very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi-kun. It's like she's trying to say it without saying it. Reina's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly? Keiichi-kun probably couldn't even begin to imagine. As if to say it was our little secret, Reina held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study it for in life. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. That's the same thing that fucking QAnon people say. Don't say that shit, Mion. Then again, Mion would kind of be like a conspiracy theorist. Like, she's kind of like Dale Gribble a little bit. I won't go so far as to compare her to QAnon. QAnon's fucking weird. Like, weird. But, yeah. Saying that, she plopped down in her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. Clang, clang. The principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everyone's homework assignments. Well, looks like there's gonna be a lot of homework today. Gotta buckle down. Well then, that means even Reina? Huh? What do you mean? Appearances can be deceiving. Would that apply to you too? Huh? Keiichi-kun, how do you see me? How? How? The Reina Ryugu I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle, ideal girl. Really? Really? That makes me happy, I guess. She was the opposite of what she seemed. That would make her. And if I were really the opposite? Just try saying it. I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant. Reina is... Reina is... Even if you were the opposite, you'd still be Reina, right? Ooh, this is creepy. Now we're actually immersed in this chapter, I think. That we're getting the first, like... some of the first threads pulled. I don't know if that metaphor makes sense. This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort. That's no fair, Keiichi-kun. It bothers me when you say it that way. Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Reina's face began to burn red with embarrassment. Reina! Kei-chan! Let's go home! Mio walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. So did I. Oh my god. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. I was talking about this in another stream, but I remembered, like, walking home from school, and, like, I used to live, like, not that far away from my high school, and, so it was, like, a little bit of a walk, but yeah, anyways, so I just remembered, like, I would go home and think about all, or, like, as I was walking home, think about all the videos I was gonna watch on my laptop, because watching stuff on mobile just wasn't really as good back then. I mean, it was, but, like, just, like, having my setup with my laptop and being at home where, like, I knew everything was, like, good, like, that was a good feeling. And getting to multitask also, like, that was nice, getting to switch between tabs very easily. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing. What's the matter, Kei-chan? The key to my house I always carry is gone. Man, where did I lose it? It's fine today since my parents are home, but still, this is bad. That sure is troublesome. Did you forget it somewhere? I'm trying to think back if there was a time where his key could have been stolen that we knew about. Like, they did change into gym uniforms, that's the only thing I could think of. And also, we know about the key to the gym storeroom. Obviously that's a different key, but, like, sometimes they'll do that where, like, something will happen and then a similar thing will happen. I don't know. Anyways, where did you drop it? Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh? Kei-chan, did that key have anything that would make it stand out? Yeah, it's on a keychain. It was a blue fur seal, something I made for summer homework a long time ago. Huh? Does it have its eyes shut like it's taking a nap? Oh, how did you know? Yeah, that's it. Neon looked away and began to whistle. See, you went for dinner at Angel Mort a couple days ago, right? That night, the staff found a key, and there was a fur seal keychain attached to it. As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it. Huh? So, I dropped it then. Haha, but aren't you glad they found it? I'm sure they're looking after it for you. That's right. Why don't you go? Shion looks the same as me, so you'll know her by sight. This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion, but I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Neon might be interesting. Half-jokingly, I began to think about things like this. Right, Angel Mort, was it? I'll head over to Shion's restaurant and get my key back. While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. Haha, you sound like an English gentleman. That totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan. That's his opposite side as an English gentleman. Is this the restaurant? The one that Mi-chan's little sister is working at? Yeah, why don't we go together, Reina? Sorry to disappoint you, but I have plans with my father today, some other time. Reina seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity. You said they're twins, but do they really look that much alike? Enough to mistake which is which? Yeah, they're totally the same, at least on the outside. Unlike Mion, she's well-mannered and rather cute, though. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I'd be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Reina said about Mion was oh my god. What Reina said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side, these feelings mixed together. That's Shion for you. That was Shion for you. Mion, what the fuck? Okay. That was Shion for you. It makes me think of Nathan for you. Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded before me. I was almost at the station. Last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. I need to share the stream real quick. Just gonna put live. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi Maibara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. Oh god. I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. Is it gonna be Shion's motorcycle? It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Thunk, clack, crash. As the 3 bikes toppled one after another like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses. Oh, shit. The hell do you think you're doing? The owners of those 3 bikes were right there. They looked exactly like what you'd call thugs up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I'd never heard before. 3 of them beelined towards me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I'd been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Done be playing dumb. You knocked him over, didn't you? Huh? Really stupid? Jesus Christ, why are they talking like that? The 3 thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like my composure drained away, my legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry, I accident my ass. You kicked it, didn't you, dumbass? I kept reading it in the voice. I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. To hell, man! Paint's all scuffed. Yo, Brad, who put you up to this? Huh? This is your goddamn fault. 3 of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from the nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. They're just kiling out, not beating him up. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. Then they slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Smash. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This is not normal. It was something you saw often on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these 3 hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. There'd be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something! I'll fucking stab you! Angry yelling, loud enough to rattle my eardrums, spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, and suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth. Okay, when's she gonna come in? You're making quite the racket, you stupid pieces of trash. Get out of my sight. That voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the 3 thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck you say? Standing there was Neon. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. I'll only say this one more time. Let go of K-chan and get lost. Neon, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course there was no way that those 3 wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Neon. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Neon, it's dangerous, so run. I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Neon get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Neon was only bluffing. But did Neon even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up. It was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Neon, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle? There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okonomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away. This spelling is really hilarious. The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everyone else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Alright, what's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go, the extortionists caught red-handed. Please arrest them. The fuck? This brat's the one that's wrong here. Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious, but now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay, come over here for a sec. Come on already. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. The fuck? Let me go. We're the victims here. Are you listening, damn it? No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. It could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Actually, what they were saying wasn't intelligible already, because they're stupid. If, like, the tone of the writing wasn't enough. Are you alright? Are you injured? Here's Oishi. He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. No, not really. Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then. Well then, have a good year. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your efforts, we were able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts. It's an honor for a detective from the 1st Division to come out all this way. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. Okay, so she's being, like, sarcastic? It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour. Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors. Ah, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though. Oishi-san, we're done here. Let's go. Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry, could you make way? The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. Alright, that's a wrap. And don't come back. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. okay, young Maibara. Next time pick your fights a bit better. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an x-ray taken. An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station when it was busy, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. Next time, be more careful. City kids these days are pretty unruly. Grumble. I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan, but I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mion. You saved my bacon there. Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment. I heard from my sister that first seal keychain was yours, Kei-chan. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird? Now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on. Well, I was just unlucky, but you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me, so if you see somebody else getting bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing very highly here. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree. You're coming into the restaurant, right? You must be tired, so why don't you relax for a bit? My treat. Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Mion began walking. That was a really long transition, Jesus. My leg is asleep, but I really need to grab water. I try not to take breaks if I can, but really need water. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little, I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff from nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and it'll be of no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds, but since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. Like, I was going to say for a second, like, oh, it's not his fault, but like, yeah, kind of it's his fault. He didn't, like, realize where he was fucking walking. But really, you really saved my hide there. I've really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. With a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble, please come and save me. It sounds... I mean... It sounds unnatural to me, but also, like, Japanese tends to be very formal sounding, even amongst friends. It's, like, the intention behind things comes out, I guess. Yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled. She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile. That tickles, stop. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little. We know why he's really relaxing. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Haha, don't worry, our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering food from another employee seems kind of weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's just been slacking off while talking to me. I told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. So I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. This is weird. I don't like this. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat about what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? That's not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. That's a pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. What the fuck? This writing feels really unnatural to me. Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life probably would have been a lot more fun. Of this I had no doubt. Then what about Shion? She wasn't Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Our relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. It's like he's starting to believe that they're different people now. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetically, okay? Are you listening? Sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, alright? We're dangling off the side of the cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. You can only save either Shion or Mion. Who do you save? If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something that she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal, frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is... Huh. Sorry, I messed up what I was trying to say. Shion was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt that there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. More importantly, just now, were you surprised when everybody kept on showing up? Of course I was. If it were Reina or Sadako, that would have been one thing, but for all those people, young and old, to gather, they were all from Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is the enemy of all. Nobody's going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody's being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kind of sounds like the Mafia or the Yakuza's brand of unity. You shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition? Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you know about the Hinamizawa Dam project? Hinamizawa Dam project? Let's see, I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh, that story. I think I heard my dad talk about that, but I'm pretty sure that plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together. So that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. At first, the proposal was only for exploratory purposes, or a small dam to control erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and sent to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, stating that there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. Okay. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? Keiji doesn't know about police brutality, I guess. They punched. They kicked. There was a time I was hit. Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it. What happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My Nana went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing, like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. How did the dam project get brought up? Okay. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and demanded his resignation. They They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government's repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate, but now that it's over, it's actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers' feelings of solidarity and unity still haven't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often, bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial. I think that just the fact that we were able to overcome it is huge. The fear I was feeling until now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity. Kei-chan, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village. But everybody shares it, thoroughly. Even with somebody who just moved here like you, Kei-chan. She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I had just moved here, even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside me. What, is he gonna cry? Because he feels like Japanese shame for people helping him? Like, I don't... When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural, but here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Yeah, people don't... Maybe that's more true now. I don't know. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was actually aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside me. Sonozaki-san, the manager wants you to work on the floor. A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry, looks like I have to get to work now. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was fun. Shoulder hurts. Oh, are you going home? Yeah. My mom gets fussy when I'm not home by dinner time. It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer, but Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I get on top of my salary. It's okay, I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey, being so reserved doesn't fit you, Kei-chan. If I were my sister, you would have gladly let me pay for it. She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. Sonozaki-san, sorry, could you take care of the register? Yes, right away. Later. Today was fun. Saying that, okay, they've... See, the translation and, like, the editing, the actual writing, like, of shit is kind of shitty. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me. Like, they didn't close the quotations, is what I mean. Oh, Mion, thanks a lot for today. I owe you one. If you really think that, then return the favor. I'm looking forward to it. After that, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It seemed like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was valuable, time well spent while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients. You idiot, it's obvious that Tokyo Tower is taller. Ah. Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of answers right, but if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably. Oh god, the phone. Keiichi, phone call from Sonozaki-san. Okay. Sonozaki? That's Mion. It was a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. It was probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we're talking about. She might even go so far as to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m. Okay. Hello? No way we're having a club battle right now. Huh? That's not it. I mean, it was Mion, but it was a very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be? Sorry, could it be you're not Mion, but Shion? That's right. Good evening. Sorry for calling so late. For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. With a dry smile... Okay. I don't like starting a sentence with like an ellipses like that as if it's continuing the Like I said, this shit's pissing me off. I'm just gonna fucking leave the door open from now on. So... you might see the animals coming and going. Just as long as they stop fucking scratching the goddamn door. There's no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton. That's great. Actually, there's a new dessert contest this summer. Looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts. Desserts at Angel Moore have a good reputation. Okay. I'm like, where? It makes sense that it would be her job, but they have great dessert. They're hiring taste testers. Like, really? I don't think of restaurants as hiring taste testers. I just think the chefs come up with whatever and that's good enough. Or the manager okays it or whatever. It's pretty difficult to get accepted as a taste tester. I'll get right to the point. Ta-da! You say ta-da, but I can't see over the phone. Still, could it be... That's right, I have a taste testing ticket right here. You guys bite the fucking lighting cord. I swear to fucking God. If you don't mind sweets, how about it? When you say how about it, you basically mean, with that ticket I can eat all the new desserts I want? They say to beware of honeypots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you can eat free dessert? No way. If you're okay with that, I'll register you as a taste tester. When you come to the restaurant tomorrow, just give the person in charge your name. Then everything will work out. When you say everything will work out, you mean all you can eat. For free? Yeah, it's free. There's quite a bit, so I recommend you come hungry. This is such a delectable opportunity, it was almost scary. This was really Shion, right? It wasn't Mion posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same person. Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking, Kei-chan. You're thinking that this is too good to be true, right? I mean, I would never. I heard from my sister, but you're really somebody who can't tell a lie. I'm not averse to somebody like that. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh. I feel like Mion would have like a heh, like that kind of laugh. It's not like I was intending on it. But it just so happens that my shift ends early tomorrow. If it's not a bother, I thought maybe we could spend a little time together after I'm done. Your shift ends early tomorrow. Yeah, so while you take your time eating dessert, I'll finish up. Well, I didn't have any plans anyway. I don't mind hanging out with you for a bit. It's not like we have to go anywhere. I was thinking we could cool off in the evening while we take a walk. There's no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on her offer. By the way, Kei-chan, you and I have been meeting up every day, haven't we? Now that you say it, I guess we have. Since you said okay, we have an excuse to meet again tomorrow. What was Mion saying? Haha, Kei-chan, your voice just cracked. What's the matter? It wasn't a video phone, but she could tell I was beet red. Well then, you should definitely come tomorrow. I'll take my leave here. Good night. Good night. Shion finished with what she had called to say, ended the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went back upstairs and returned to my room. I've only been receiving favors from Shion, haven't I? She brought me a bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she'd probably just say she'll pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow, I'll have to repay her somehow. Yeah, Peter? That's not an invitation to climb up here. You can like, hang out around there. Peter's not a cord biter, so... I bought these cat toys that are supposed to be, like, meant for cats who bite cords. They're actually like a teething toy. But I have a couple of them that like to chew on wires. Thankfully, there's been no accidents because of that. Also, cords are the computer cords are pretty resistant to that now, I think. But I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow I'll have to repay her somehow. Okay, I figured. Ooh, details of the delinquent 3. Trying to think what I would predict for this. Like, it seems like they would... I'm wanting to believe that the villagers would at some point have their way with them. Just why are you arresting us? Bullshit, let go of me. Kuma-chan, you can let go of their arms now. Here, please sit down. The three people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumatani-kun and the others must have been squeezing them pretty tightly. Nah, don't get me wrong. I haven't arrested you or anything. Kuma-chan, go get me something cold from the fridge, please. Would you like your barley with foam or without? They plunked down on the reception sofa, and despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. What I'd give to be young again. I'll drink even if you don't, you know. Excuse me for helping myself. Beer is best when you drink it on the job. As he downed the beer with glee, the three people exchanged glances, then finally reached out for their cans. They hadn't stopped being cautious. It was more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. They each opened their cans and began to drink the contents. Where did you guys come from? You're not from around here. They looked at each other, suspicious of whether they should tell him. Are you all college students? Hey. Rudy. I need to trim their nails so they don't fucking tear up the yoga mat. Not declaw, trim their nails. I shouldn't need to specify that, but yeah. Are you all college students, friends on a trip? You were probably traveling on bikes or something. Sounds like fun I wish I was having. You don't live close by, do you? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Osaka, perhaps? What's the matter to you? Now, there's no use trying to intimidate me. You would have all been in a lot of trouble if I'd left you there, right? They seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. While they could understand getting surrounded by students or a gang or something along those lines, they would never have been surrounded by locals, both young and old, both women and men and women before. It was easy to imagine how scared they must have been. If you were from here, the people of Hinamizawa wouldn't have done anything to you, no matter what you had done wrong. They're all special, not in the sense of parents wanting to get involved in their children's fights. If one person gets bullied, the village will come out in full force. That's not just an idle threat, you know. They couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt about it. Around these parts, if people of Hinamizawa give you a glare like that, you'll simply get demoned away and no one will hear from you again. You'll suddenly disappear without a trace. Do you all have families that would get to the police to search for you if you went missing? If not, then that's bad. You'll vanish, and that'll be the end of it. Even then, we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things would have taken a turn for the worse. If they'd been forced into an alleyway, these young men wouldn't be sitting on a couch right now. They might be lying on an autopsy table. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we'd found them as corpses. How did you all get to Okonomiya? By train? By bike? Bike? That's not good. They're still parked there, aren't they? If you go waltzing in to get them back, they might really gang up on you. How's that? We'll take them all. Calm down, calm down. Why are young people these days so quick with the shouting? You don't want any more trouble, right? Tell me the bike license plate numbers. I'll bring them here for you. Kuma-chan, please borrow the loading truck we use for the traffic disasters. You're fucking crazy, Buddha. Come on, get down. Come on, go. Got it. It's fine, we'll get them ourselves. Do you really want to get surrounded again? The police may not be fast enough to save you this time. It's fine, isn't it? If we surrounded, they're gonna get knocked down. Hey, you three? You're drinking the barley with foam, right? Try turning your engines on. I'll arrest you on the spot for drunk driving. That's fucking dirty. Your tax dollars will be put to good use in bringing all your bikes back here. Quit complaining and tell me the goddamn license plate numbers, you pieces of shit. The three were hesitant to tell him the numbers. They were mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they just bought the bikes. Well, that's what I thought. Kuma-chan, go with the truck and bring the bikes back. Get the tough-looking red Yamaha, the one with the broken right taillight, and the white one that had the packing tape stuck to the seat. It's those ones. They belong to you, right? They didn't answer. Those must be the right ones. Oishi-san, the truck is here, so I'll get going. Yes, please do. Wait, Kuma-chan, hold on. One more thing. What's up? Look up the numbers. You don't want to bring the wrong ones back. The three people's faces changed color. They made themselves very easy to understand. Let's take it easy until your bikes get back. There's more beer, you know. We have some snacks, too. Want to watch TV? There's probably nothing on, though. Nah, thanks. We's leaving. Don't want to hang here forever. Suddenly, there were 5 or 6 huge officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa. Huh? What? What do we do? Going on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. Okay. Alright. We're gonna stop there. I'll go ahead and do a new save just in case. I don't, just, you know, who knows. But I am gonna go ahead and log off for the night. I have some coding stuff to do, and I think tomorrow's, well, I'll check my schedule. I do stream tomorrow. I'm pretty sure Fansley and Chatterbait, so yeah. Alright. See you in the next one.